Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today's video is going to be top 10 Deco mesh fall wreaths. I absolutely love how these wreaths came out and I would love to know which one is your favorite. Before we get into the video, I would love to remind you that I can be found on many social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and also Facebook. On Facebook, I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. In the group, you can share beautiful creations, whether it's a wreath, a DIY, a tablescape, or just some decor in your home. I would love to see it. Now, let's get started on the wreaths. I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful fall floral wreath using just 3 Deco mesh rolls, some florals, and of course some ribbon. We're going to make a bow. Today we are using the Nadia method just because this is the only method that I know that uses the least amount of Deco mesh per section. Usually you need 6 rolls for any method, including the curly method and any other method that you're going to use. With this method, here is the deal. We are going to get 15 bows out of each roll. In each section, we are going to use 11. So these 3 Deco mesh rolls are actually going to be enough for 4 sections, and we should have 1 bow left over. Just to confirm one more time, I am using a 14-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and this is in the neutral color. You will also need pipe cleaners. You will need 45 pieces. I don't have enough orange, so I am going to use some yellow. But I do like to just do it in 3s for this method. We're going to get 15 bows from each of the rolls. And basically what we're going to do here is it's a 6-inch roll and it's 5 yards. We're going to divide the 5 yards by 15. It's going to give us 12 inches. So we are going to make 12-inch little sections. Now let's make our little bows. I'm going to basically overlap my little loop over here by about 1 inch, maximum 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to hold it on top and bring it straight down, holding with one finger on top. At the bottom, I'm going to start and I'm going to walk it in. This is sealing in all the sides, all the fraying, and I'm going to grab my little piece, starting on top where I have, basically this is my smooth end. I'm going to bring it back, and this is where we brought it together, and that is where I'm going to twist it. And all the fraying is going on inside the bow and a little bit in the back. On top over here, we have a perfect little bow. Let's do it again. We're going to overlap it by about 1 inch, maximum 1.5 inches. And don't worry if one side is bigger than the other. In the grand scheme of things, it's going to look good. All right, so I overlapped it by 1 inch, and just holding it on top, I'm just going to bring it down. I'm going to press it on top, and I'm going to walk down here, right there. Walk it up, seal all those little endings in. Grab my little piece of wire, and I'm bringing in on the smooth end. And this is the end where we overlapped. So that is where we're going to twist it. And basically, there's a sweet little bow. And as I said, all the fraying is hidden. It's either in the back where it's sealed or on the inside. All right, I'm going to continue making my bows for all 3 rolls of my Deco mesh. And then I will be right back. And I'm all done with my little bows. I did use gold for the ones that I did not have enough of the orange because the yellow kind of really clashed. So I'm just using some gold, and this is the metallic gold that you get at the Dollar Tree around the holidays. They'll have it around for Christmas and Thanksgiving again, or for fall again. So here we go with our wreath form. We are going to be using row 2 and row 3. In row 2, we're going to have 5 of our little bows, and in row 3, we are going to have 6. We are going to zigzag starting from the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. This is going to give us 11 of these bows per section. And I'm just starting and just twisting it on. There you go. Next one is going to go on row 2. Then the next one is going to go on row 3. And don't worry that it looks kind of sparse. This is only 3. We're going to put 11 total. So it's going to look okay. Here is one section all done. This is only 11 of the little bows. And then here is the back. I kept it nice and neat. I just twisted them and then just twisted them back. Nice and neat in the back. And in the front, we have a nice section. So I'm going to continue going in a zigzag. 6 in 3rd row and 5 in 2nd row. And just continue putting them on for the next 3 sections. And as you see, I just kind of twist it here. And then here I fold it in half kind of. And then just fold it back. So it's nice and neat. When you have a section like this where it's kind of like empty, that's all right. Just overlap it. It's just depending on how the bow is laying. Overlap it, play with it, and bam, the area is nice and covered. Alrighty, you guys, I'm going to finish up and come back. Can you believe that this is 3 rolls? Just 3 Deco mesh rolls from the Dollar Tree. Plus, I have an extra one so that one you can just stick anywhere. It really doesn't matter. Let's see here. I'm just gonna push this back and throw it in here. Now that our Deco mesh is all done, it's time to decide how we want this wreath to actually go. Do we want our bow to be this way coming down? Do we want it to be kind of just down here and kind of hang? The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to choose the leaves that I'm going to use. And I felt like these match, but the thing is, I felt like these just kind of blend in too much. I might add some later if it needs it, but I wanted to just bring these lighter ones in just to kind of brighten things up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that you could see all of the little fuzzies here, and we're just going to place this how we want it. Now I'm just going to bend. Now that we have the leaves placed, we're going to get the floral wire, wrap it around, and then we're just attaching it to the wreath form. Now I'm going to put my wreath aside and we're going to make the bow. For this bow, I'm going to be using this beautiful ribbon from Crafter Square, and this is the green one, and it's such a beautiful green. And this one is 3.5 inches. And yeah, I know, I'm very excited about that, but comparing to the 2 inches that we get our other ribbon, this is really nice. And then because this is kind of dark and so is this, I am going to bring the gold in because it really doesn't matter. We have gold here, so it's going to work well all together. And then we have the yellow here, which is going to go nice with the leaves. So this whole thing is going to be beautiful. The bow I'm going to be making, I personally call it half loop bow. If you know what it's called, let me know. But I'm doing my own measurements and I'm doing my own thing. So here we go. I'm going to make loops that are 14 inches. Here is my 12-inch mark, and here is my 14-inch mark. I'm going to loop it over right there, and we're going to, there you go, at 14. Now I'm just going to see how much of these 14 inches I have left. All my ribbon is from last year because my Dollar Tree has not gotten the fall stuff in. But you know what? I think 3 is going to be more than enough. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and I'm just going to measure it off the other one. So with this one, I was only able to do 2, which is fine because it's so thick and big. It'll be fine. And now with the gold. All right, so since our loops are 14 inches, our strips or ribbon pieces are actually 28 inches in length. Just won't make it on the screen, so it was easier to show you 14 in the loops. So now I'm going to go around and make dovetails to all the ribbon endings. Okay, I'm going to start with the thickest one, and all I'm going to do is measure off a 6-inch bow and put it between my fingers. Next, I'm going for the green. Fold that in half, measure out my 6 inches and put it the opposite way. I'm going to grab my gold one, measure it out, put it the opposite way, but we're still pinching at the 6-inch mark with the loops. I'm going to go back to this one, trying to get a hold of this one. 6 inches. Now it's going this way. Make sure that the big ones, especially if you have one of each, there's one on each side. Now the green one, this way. And that's why I call this the half bow, because everything's in half. You're kind of halving it on both sides. Okay, measuring off my 6 inches. This one's going this way. I'm going to turn it around and now continue on this side. Now the green one, opposite, and the gold one. Now I'm grabbing my wire, nice long piece of a wire, and now I'm just going to start twisting it around, just kind of keeping it tight. This is going to be a big and a beautiful bow, and wire it in place. Now that my bow is on, it's time to open it up. How fun. Here I decided to do some extra reinforcement with some wire. Before I continue puffing everything out, I'm going to bring in this ivory little pumpkin. And I don't want it to be flat and I don't want it to be sideways. I kind of want it to be like a little bit tilted forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm grabbing a 14 gauge wire. This is a thick wire and I'm going to go kind of an angle, like right there. Do you see? I didn't go down, I went from the side. And a 14 gauge wire will go through this because this is basically styrofoam. This is very strong wire. And I'm going to fold it down just like this. And I'm going to go around my bow and attach it in the back. Now that our pumpkin is in, I'm going to go ahead, puff everything out, and we are going to be done with this wreath. Wreath, I'm going to start off with a 14-inch metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree. Also 21-inch mesh. Now this mesh I did get at the Dollar Tree, but if you're not able to find it at the Dollar Tree because it's so rare, try your Walmart. Walmart has the exact same one, possibly for $1 or $2 more, but still a fantastic price. Then basically everything else is going to be from the Dollar Tree. The ribbon that I'm going to be using, it has fall leaves on it. Then I am going to be using some of this glitter tulle. and then pumpkins. Now for this one, you can either use these ivory ones or these orange ones, because really both of them would look beautiful, but I am leaning towards the ivory ones a little bit more. And then of course we are going to need some chenille stems or pipe cleaners. This is what we're going to be actually starting out with, and you're going to need 18 of those. The way I count my rings on the wreath form are from inside out. So ring 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the outside one. So on ring 2, we're going to put one of these pipe cleaners straight in the middle, and I'm just going to give it one twist. You could give it 2 to keep it in place. The second and third pipe cleaner are going to go on row 3, and they're going to go on the sides right here. Same thing, find my middle and give it a twist. So this is what each one of the sections are going to look like. 1, 2, 3. If you want, you could hot glue this in place. I'm going to repeat this in all the sections, and then we're going to start on our deco mesh. Before we attach our deco mesh, I wanted to remind you to make sure that to unroll it where it's rolling on top instead of at the bottom, meaning instead of it being unrolled this way, you want to unroll it this way, meaning it curls under like this. So that way when you have your loops, they're going to be nice and smooth. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to go in about an inch, inch and a half, and bring the whole side together. Now we're ready to attach. Some wreath makers like to go from outside in. I like working from inside out, just because at the end it's easier to work on the outside rows when you're attaching it. So here I go, starting from row 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my bundle straight on here, and I'm going to give it at least 2 twists. If you feel uncertain, give it a third twist, but 2 is fine. Especially on the first one, I'm somebody who likes to make sure that it's nice and secure, and I use a zip tie. On the rest of them, I'm not going to do that. I just use the zip tie on the first one and the last one. There we go. I'm just taking it to the side a little bit so it kind of pulls in nicely, nice and tight. And now we're ready to do our loops. Our loops are going to be 9 inches. My white square right here, this middle square, this white square is 8 inches, so I'm going to go from side to side plus 1 more. And I'm just placing my wreath right on there, right exactly where my little square is, measuring out 9 inches. And then I'm going to go to this next section, place my deco mesh right here, and give it 2 twists. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? We just started. All right. Going to the next one. I got my 9. Going to the next section and 2 twists. So my last loop in row 1 is going to be right on top of my first one. And we are done with our first row. Now, instead of going to the pipe cleaner in this section, we are going to skip and go to the next section. So in the next section, we have the 2 pipe cleaners. We're going to take the first one in the next section. Because if you go in this section, you're going to have like a big bubble, which is kind of useless. You know, you want those beautiful waves. So I'm going to measure my 9 inches right here. And I'm going to go in this next section. And now I'm going to go all the way around until I come back to the same spot. All right, we are on our last loop. So I'm going to measure out my 9, and you can attach it right here on this first one that you started with. I'm going to put it right on top. Keep it nice and tight. Give it at least 2 inches. Cut it off. This tail I'm going to put behind right there. And I'm going to grab a zip tie and I'm going to tie it in place. Our wreath is all done, but I'm not going to fluff it out until the very end. So I'm going to put this aside and we're going to bring our ribbon in. We are going to do 12 inches. So grab any 12-inch ruler and just start going around. So 1 spool of this roll is enough for 9 of these, which means you're going to need 2 of these in order to make our 18 bundles. Next, I'm just going to make little dovetails. So for my question of the day, I've heard these types of tails called 3 different things: dovetails, ducktails, or fishtails. I want to know in the comments below what you call these things when you make them. All right, I'm done with both of these. And just so you know, this one kind of came a little short, and this was supposed to be the 9th ribbon, and it was about 6 inches too short. So I did have to start a 3rd roll of this one, but this one was fine. I got 9 out of each roll. Now let's get started on the glitter tool. I want my glitter tool to be 2 inches shorter than my ribbon, just because I don't want it to go over the tails. I want the tails to stand out. Since our ribbon tails are about 1 inch on both sides, we're going to go from 12 inches to 10 of these. So if you're doing 10-inch ribbon pieces, go down to 8 in the tool. That's what I mean. This is very faint, but it's going to be so elegant. And I'm going to be using my rotary cutter to cut my 10-inch pieces. All right, my friends, you're looking at a little bit of a finished wreath. The reason for this is my camera would not download the clip where I put these bundles together. So what I'm going to do is show you how I did it. I actually undid one of the bundles, put it together, and then the video is going to move on from the part where the camera did agree to work with me. So we have our strips right here, and with these, it doesn't matter which one's on top, which one's on bottom. As you can see, you can just open them up and move them around how you want. So I'm basically taking one, putting the other one crisscross, just like this, like in an axe. And then I'm grabbing my mesh here on my tool, and I'm just scrunching everything together. And when you scrunch, see how it's starting to kind of come up and kind of making its own little wave there. And then I'm going to take our pipe cleaners and just put it in between our pipe cleaners. Give it 2 good twists, and then you can either cut them or whatever you want to do, but I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to feed them through to the back. And then in the back, I'm going to give it 2 more twists. And then what I like to do is I usually don't cut these off. I just kind of fold them in and kind of tuck them back. And so it's going to look something like this. And then I'm just going to go on and go to 18 of the pipe cleaners and put these bundles in. And once again, I'm so sorry that this part got cut out from the camera, but now we're going to continue where the camera does work. All right, I am all done putting my bundles in. So now I'm just going around, and anywhere I feel like it needs to be filled up, I'm opening up the Deco mesh. Otherwise, it really should be just kind of full. And because it's 21-inch mesh, it's doing its job. So the next thing, I am going to grab my pumpkins. And the really cool thing about these little sweet things are they come with little clips on the back side. So all I'm going to do is wherever I feel like going all the way around, I'm just going to attach my pumpkins. I highly recommend you attach it to the Deco mesh just because it's a stronger hold. So maybe somewhere right here. And then just work the ribbon around it. It's going to be so adorable. Today we are using this cross form to make a wreath, and I got this at the Dollar Tree during Easter. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of painting wreath forms, at least they're not plastic, they're metal, and painting them is just fine. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a good 2 coats of the white paint and primer, and it should cover it fairly well. And yeah, I'm gonna turn it around and do the back once. You don't need to do the back twice. The front is more important than anything. But I mean, it's so thin, it's going to kind of like the paint, if it runs, it's going to run underneath, so it's fine. And then I'm going to seal this with this UV resistance clear acrylic coating. I like using this. I've used it for a long time. This is a gloss, but you can obviously use either matte or gloss. It really doesn't matter because it's going to get covered, and our whole point is to make it white. All right, I'm gonna come back when this is all done. All right, I got my cross all ready, and I actually gave it 1 coat of the white paint. It was plenty. I think it's because it was paint and primer, but it looks good. And before we get started, I did want to give you the measurements. This thing is so huge. So as you can see right here, it's 12 inches by 24. For this cross, I did get 5 Deco mesh rolls, and I'm going to be doing the woodland technique. The woodland technique is a fairly popular technique, but it's not used with the Dollar Tree Deco mesh like I use it. So the measurements for this is going to be 22-inch little strips. That'll give us 8 strips per roll because we are working with 5 yards of Deco mesh. In retrospect, this technique is one of the quicker techniques. It's not the quickest, it's not the slowest, but it's one of the quicker ones because your little bundles are, are made out of a lot of Deco mesh or a long piece of Deco mesh. So this is going to be a super fun wreath to make. For the woodland technique, I do cut my pipe cleaners in half. To start making our bundles, we need 3 things. We need our pipe cleaner. We need something heavy. I use these metallic scissors, and we need our mesh. So I'll start by unrolling, putting my scissors on one end and kind of just moving it up. And then here I'm going to make a little roll on the other end. And what this is going to do is it's going to catch the frame. I made a little roll, and now I'm walking it up in the middle. Just in the middle, kind of. I'm just squishing both sides kind of and walking it up until I get to about a few inches left, maybe 3 inches left of the other end, and then I'm going to roll this. This for me is the hardest part because you're kind of doing it with one hand, and sometimes they can get a little, funny, but there you go. We made a roll, and when I grab my chenille wire, I wrap it around. And I just kind of like to push it up. Now I'm going to tighten it. And we have our beautiful, beautiful kind of like this, I don't know, just beautiful wavy bow or ribbon or whatever you want to call it. But isn't this gorgeous? The second way you can do these rolls that might be easier for you is grab either a clothespin or some kind of a little pin and make your roll. Make 1 roll and pin it. Then you're going to turn it around, move that back, start working on your other side. Make your roll, walk it in, 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 and just take this off and put your pipe cleaner on. I'll call this option B. So option A or B, you guys, freehand or with this little guy? Let me know down below what you're gonna try. Unless you've done this method before, and if you did, what did you use? All right, you guys, I'm going to continue doing this, and I will come back when I have all my little bundles ready, and we're going to attach it to the cross. This is going to be a really fun and beautiful wreath. All my little ruffles are all set to go, and I'm going to start working on the cross. I only did 4 rolls to see how far it'll take me, but if you're running low on your deco mesh, we're still decorating the center, so I would focus on the outsides. So these 2 sections right here, these and this one, like towards the end, because if anything, if you don't have enough, you could just put a big bow here or some florals, whatever you're going to do. That's just a suggestion. For this method, we're kind of going to be working in pairs because this is a straight wreath. I got my first 2, I got my second 2. Now I'm going to put 2 more right here. All right, we are 6 in. It looks beautiful, it looks full. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am going to put right on these intersections right here, on the crossbars right here where they intersect. Once again, I have 4 on this little section with 2 being on the sides here. And then once again, I'm going on this little cross section. Okay, as I'm going along, I feel like this needs 2 more right here. Like I feel like it's not full enough. So I am going to put more right here to proof things out. So I think we might have to go to roll number 5. Okay, now I'm going to start working on this side. And the game plan is to put 6 right here, 6 right here, and 8 right here. Okay, this is how far 4 rolls have taken us. I think it fills out really, really nicely, but I am going to break into the 5th roll and go ahead and make my little curlies, and I will be right back. I made 6 more of these, and I'm going to put them on top right here, and then we're going to start decorating. My supervisor came to see how I finished up the job over here. Hi, Leo. All right, our wreath is all done. Now it's time to decorate it for fall. I'm bringing in these leaves. Can you believe how gorgeous these are? And these I just got at the Dollar Tree last week. These are maple leaves, and they come in a set of, it should be 6. 1 is missing right here, but that's all right. This is actually one of my extra packs. Okay, since this one is the defective one, I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to cut it like this with the 3 leaves on top. And so this is going to go like this. This one, full one, is going to go down this way. And so I'm going to cut it right here. Using a little piece of floral wire, I'm going to bring these guys together. To do the sides, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut off the top 3 leaves, and I'm going to bring these 2 together with wire. I cut off a longer section because this way I can put them right here. Let's see, to make sure we're in the center. Okay, for a nice strong seal, I'm bringing in the 14 gauge. This is the thicker, stronger one. And I'm just going to go across here. And I'm going to switch up and go across the other way. And now we have a nice strong hold. Now I'm going to go back to my lighter one and just give it a good twist or 2. This is just going to connect to our actual wreath, and keep this one long. And then I'm going to also connect it right here. And now it's time to connect it to the wreath form. Now that I have them all fed through, I'm just going to tie them in place. I think I made these a little too long, but that is all right. If you want, you could go back, feed it through, and attach it in another area. Now I'm going to put this cross aside, and I'm going to bring in this little cross that I got at the Dollar Tree also. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this backing. We don't need it. I got my little sticker off, and now I'm going to paint the cross. I am using a flat brush, and that is what I recommend for this because I want to keep the Bless This Home right here and just paint around right here. Get rid of all that blue because it does not go with our color scheme. So I'm just going to go around very carefully, and I'm going to give it a few coats of the chalk paint, probably 2 or 3 because this is kind of on the dark end. And I'm also painting the sides. Now that our cross is painted, I'm going to do one of my favorite techniques. It's really easy, really cute, and we're just going to give this cross a distressed look. It is going to look like it was a metal cross that had, you know, that was painted white. And it's chipping on the sides. And I'm just going on the side with the brush. It's okay to have heavier parts and then lighter parts and then a little heavier. I do like to focus on the corners because you know what, when you have something that's kind of old, that's where it kind of chips first, is on the sides. And so that is what we're going to do here. I think this technique brings so much character to a very plain looking cross, and it's just going to look very, very lovely. All right, I'm all done with the cross, but as I put it on my wreath, I realized that there's this space right here that's a little open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a few more of these leaves, and then it's going to look like this. So when attaching a wire, you first need to obviously consider how we're going to attach it. And since we're going to attach it right here, we're going to go diagonally on a cross. But I do not like attaching wire by itself just because it's so thin. So I am going to put it down, and then I'm going to grab a piece of felt and put it right on top. This is going to seal it in. It's going to be a lot stronger. And if you want, you could just grab another piece and hot glue it across this way also. I mean, that just seals it in completely. And then I'm just going to put that of glue here at the corners. And I know this will be absolutely secure big time. Okay, while this is going to cool off, I'm going to attach these leaves right here. We're bringing in the cross and just feeding it through to lock it in place. I decided to go back and cover this area also. So I'm taking one of the ones we cut off, and I'm going to insert it right here. And of course, using a little bit of wire, I'm going to secure it in place. And our wreath is complete. Today's Wreath Wednesday, I'm going to be using this squared wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and it is a 14 inches by 14 inches, which is quite large. Today, I'm going to be using the second row of the wreath form and also the third. You can use the first and the second if you want the wreath to be a little bit smaller. I wanted to use the 2 outer ones because I wanted to show you how much you're going to need for the bigger version of this wreath. I have not used the Nadia method on a squared wreath before, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to need, but at the end, I will definitely give you all that info. For now, I'm going to cut up actually 5 because I know for sure I'm going to need 5, but I do have extras just in case. I try not to go over 6 Deco mesh rolls with any wreath I make on this channel. I try this to be as economical as possible and as beautiful as possible. All right, for the actual Deco mesh, here we go. Our deco mesh is 6 inches in width, and in length it is 5 yards. If you take the 5 yards divided by the 12 inches that we're going to make our strips in, it's going to give you 15. So we're going to get 15 the Nadia method bows within each of the rolls. The rolls that I just got, these are new. These are not from last year. So they're the newer style. They're more firmer. So I'm very excited to see how this will work because I just did a wreath using this one. It was the breast cancer wreath. And I like the way the bows turned out. I think it looked beautiful. The deco mesh is definitely stronger. It is more secured on the edges. But it is Dollar Tree, so I highly recommend before you buy any of the deco mesh rolls, just take a look at them on the sides. Make sure they're not loose. You want to look for a roll that's nice and neat. This is a good example of a beautiful roll. Let me open it up. Look at this. It's beautiful. Dollar Tree. Look how clean all the edges are. And on this side too. So this is a perfect specimen, shall we say, of deco mesh roll from a Dollar Tree. Very beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to sit here, watch a little bit of NCAS New Orleans, and just continue cutting these up. So speaking of that, in the comments below, let me know what you're watching right now. Is there a series you're watching right now? I don't know, maybe you're watching some kind of a sitcom or comedy. Like what is really just kind of fun for you right now to watch? I actually just started from season 1 and I love binge watching shows. All right, you guys, I will see you in a bit. Now let's talk about pipe cleaners at the Dollar Tree. Here's what I recommend. Right now, Dollar Tree has these seasonal ones that are coming out already. And what I recommend is buy a whole bunch of these. I don't know, maybe 6, 10. It all depends on how many wreaths you make. So this one is leftover from last year, for example. And so what I do is I take them and I divide all the colors. And, you know, for this wreath, I want to use these gold ones because they would work really well with this wreath. And so I'm just going to divide all the colors. And then that way, you know, when I'm making a silver wreath, there you go. There's my silver. Then I got red, green, and it works out really well. We're going to divide it in 3. It's 4 inches each because these are 12 inches long. And then I'm just going to cut these with my wire cutters. We're just going to take our 12-inch deco mesh strip, let it curl into itself and overlap. And then I just kind of am walking it back until it's overlapping about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, holding it on top, bringing it down so our overlapping is in the center. With one finger, I'm holding on top. And then with my other finger right here from the bottom, I'm going to walk it in, and all of that fraying is going to get locked in right here in the center. Then I'm taking my bow, I'm turning it upside down. This is our smooth end, and this is where we bring our pipe cleaner, and then bring it back. Give it 2 twists, nice and tight, locking it all the fraying. And so we have a little bit of fraying on one side of the bow that's behind and in the back, and then the rest of the fraying is inside the other side of the bow. And there is your bow. And if you take a few of them, I know it looks fairly kind of like naked, but don't forget that we're just going to squeeze these guys together just like this. And you could already see the wreath. It's going to be colorful, orangey. It's going to have a little sparkle from this orange little strip. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful wreath. Now I'm going to continue with my NCIS. I'm going to be making lots and lots of these little bows. Now it's time to put the bows on, and I usually like going in a zigzag, so I'll just be zigzagging along, and obviously right here we're going to put a few more, and then continue going zigzagging using the second and the third row. Okay, and I'm just going to do 2 twists, and then I'm going to just bring them together, fold underneath, and kind of just loop them back, and that's it. Just like that. And they're going to be nice and secure in place. Look how gorgeous the colors are in this Deco mesh. Very fallish. All right, so here are the numbers that you want. In this bar right here, the middle bars on all the sides, you are going to need 10 on each. So 5 on each bar. In each section, you're going to have 10. On the corners, I'm going to have 5 on this middle one, and I'm going to have 7 on this outer one. So that makes it 12 on each one of the corners, a total of 88, which means you're going to have 6 rolls, and then you should have 2 of these bows left over because 6 rolls make 90 of the bows, and we need 88. So, you know, whenever you have the 2 left, just fill in the area that you feel maybe is a little lighter or looser. So another thing is, while you're doing this, don't get discouraged if it's a little bit too light, because when you hang it on the wall, this section right here, as you can see, it kind of curls in. This is me standing in on this side. We're going to push it back, and then it's going to fill this area. You are the boss of this wreath, so make it listen to you. So fold how you want. That's the cool thing about Nadia's method, is these bows, they're very pliable and movable, and you can move them the way you want to and make it work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish up. I have a few more sections to do here, and I will be right back. Okay, and our wreath is all complete. Nice and clean. Now I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to do the centerpiece. For the centerpiece, you're going to need some of these bushels of leaves, and I'm choosing this bright yellow because this is so kind of, you know, it's kind of like on the darker end and all these fall colors, and this is going to brighten it up in the center. So we're going to use those. Then we're going to use a little pillow. I know, we're going to use a pillow for the centerpiece. Another option could be this little pumpkin. I'll show you what it looks like later. And then, of course, we are going to need some wires to bring this all together. First things first, I'm going to remove all the tags. Now, with the wire cutters, you have 2 choices. You can cut it or you can bend it. I'm going to bend it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections in. I'm going to bend it back. This looks about right to me. Now, if you didn't cut and you're just doing this, make sure with the wire you catch the little sections that you bend backward. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one, 5 sections in. And if you have anything poking out like this, make sure you cut it with wire cutters so you don't get hurt. Same thing with the second pair. I made sure that the distance is the same. And we're going to put some wire around these guys. All right, now that our bushels are both done, I'm going to crisscross them and grab more wire, knot it a little bit, give it a few twists, okay? And then I'm going to face it the other way and crisscross it this way. That way you have wire going this way and this way. Now in the middle of this, I'm bringing in my pillow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this jute cord off, making sure not to cut too much so I don't cut the pillow. Same thing with these tags. Now I'm going to get a thicker wire, maybe like a 16 gauge. I'm going to poke it through. And it has stuffing on the inside. Just kind of go through the stuffing. And then come out on the other side. And I'm not going to go too tight. The pillow is secure right in here. All right, now I'm going to flip it upside down. The wire that I have been using is the really thin one from the Dollar Tree, so I wanted to get something stronger, so I'm going to use these twist ties. I'm going to need a long piece here, and what you want is to make sure that your piece will go double here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath this whole thing, find my center, and I'm going to twist twice, and then go underneath one of mine right there, go underneath right there, bring them in the middle, and twist them in the middle. Then I'm going to cut another piece, make sure it's double the size here, and give it a few more extra inches. Cut this. Going through the opposite, right underneath that middle crisscross. Find my center a few times, and I went over this top one. This is going to give it like an extra security, an extra locking. Going around on the first row right here. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm knotting it in place. I wanted to show you real quick what it would look like with this little pumpkin. So let me take my board out. If you hang it against something nice and bright, what that's going to do is bring all these colors out and then bring the focus in the middle. I think either one is pretty, but I love the pillow, and I don't know, it's so cute and sweet. I absolutely love it. So now all that's left is to straighten my leaves out and hang this wreath. For a candy corn wreath, I'm starting with 1 white, 2 orange, and 3 yellow. And I'm hoping we're not going to use the whole thing because we are doing something super, super easy. So before we begin, I'm going to take a witch's hat, which is going to be our wreath base. And I'm going to give it 1 coat of this paint and primer by Krylon, and then cover it with UV resistant clear. This is just so it doesn't scratch. I always do this. All right, and here's the complete wreath form. So because this is so big, I'm just going to start and kind of put it on the side and kind of work from top going down. Starting with the white Deco mesh, I wanted to basically cover the first and the second area right here. I'm just going to loop it through the center here, and I'm going to kind of give it a twist right here. Just a little twist so I can use a little Ziploc to tie it in place. And just cut off the tail. And I'm just going to continue just twisting and turning. I'm going to go inside to kind of loop it in place. Going to this one and then going back up, and you'll see it. It'll just start making sense. It's going to start creating a point at the top. And don't be stingy on this part just because we really want to make sure that that point is nice and covered. So keep on going to the top, then back to this second part so you can wrap it around. See what I'm doing there? And then I'm going to wrap it. This is going to be probably my last time on top. And then start going here. I think I'm going to take this out because it's going so nicely around. Then in here. And now we're going to start twisting and turning in this area. And you kind of just make a loop, twist it, going through to the front, to the back, and kind of just weave it in and out. And don't worry about this, we're going to cover it, but right now we just want a nice base. Now that we have a little bit, I'm going to start covering it and kind of going in smoothly. Tighten it up if you feel like it needs it. Okay, do you see the white forming? I think it's looking really good. Okay, I have my white secured here. And I'm going to come in with the orange. I didn't lock it in place. I'm going to lock both of them together. Here I'm just going to go from the other side and kind of crisscross these two right here, and then come in with my zip tie. All right, I know I'm using a blue zip tie, which is really not cool, but that is okay. This is my industrial one that was given to me by my friend. So this is not gonna go anywhere, and we are going to cover it up with this orange. It'll be just fine. Now I'm going to cut off the white, and I'm going to start going around this section and then in this one. And look at that, it's already covered where the blue zip tie is. Here where I have my white and my orange, I'm really making sure that the last loop I'm going to do is going to make a clear line so it's nice and smooth. If you see that it starts building up like this, all you need to do is make a few twists and then just do a loop, and then it'll straighten itself out. Okay, I'm moving on to orange number 2. Just the same, I'm going to twist them. All right, since there is a lot of space here, what I'm going to do is my last loop, I'm going to go around to get to this bar. Okay, grabbing my yellow, going to go in and around. Okay, I'm just going to drop this one and then try to zigzag as much as possible through the center here. And now I'm just using the same zigzag technique, but I'm going back down just to make sure I have beautiful coverage and the yellow is going to stand out. I'm done with roll number 4, about to start roll number 5. So it looks like 5 is the magic number here. I was not sure what I was going to do, but I'm thinking of simply, I'm not even joking, tying these together. Just kind of looping them because they're kind of in between and I have nothing to tie it to. And you know what? It's a strong hold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of hide this underneath, tuck it inside, and I'm going to give it a few more twists around. There you go, kind of hidden there. And then same thing, I'm going to continue twisting. I still see this here, so I'm going to go over it and then just continue making my way down. Okay, so the rest of it, I just kind of twist it right here, and I'm going to zip tie it to this bottom one right here. Okay, and now it's time to decorate. So we have our gorgeous candy corn right here. And at the bottom, we're going to decorate with leaves. So first things first, you need some floral wire here. And then I'm going to grab 4 of these leaves right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 on each side. And we're kind of going to interlock them like this, layer by layer. So let's start with the first one. And you want to make sure that the tip that you're putting at the end is nice and not bent and that kind of thing. Because like, for example, look at this one. This one's kind of, you know, so I'm going to put this one as my second one. I'm going to put that on top, and this is going to be my first one. And then let's see here which one's prettier. This one's really nice. All right, so here is my hat. Here's the end, and the point is just to cover this up right here. And here I go, interlocking it. Just like this. Layer number 2, same thing. We're just going to interlock it. If there are leaves facing the other way, turn them around and just layer this on top. Try to get the top one even closer as you see right here. And when you're done, make sure that it's covered Oh, this is going to be so pretty. All right, now I'm going in with my floral wire, starting at the bottom. And I'm just going to go around and kind of weaving it through, making sure we kind of loop around all the branches, at least all the middle branches. I want to save this to attach it, so I'm going to leave this one and then cut the other side really long so I can still make a few loops here. By the way, this wreath was a requested wreath, so I do want to say thank you to those who give me ideas. I can't guarantee that I'm going to make all requested, but you know, chances are if you keep on requesting, I'm gonna make one of yours, because basically I write them all down, and then the ones that I get a lot of requests on, I make those. Hence this wreath. Now we're going to do our first attachment. I'm going to turn it around, and it's easier to see where all our endings are right here. There you go. Going to twist it in place, then around this middle bar. So it's going to hold it in place. Don't worry that it's writing around. We're going to connect it in a few other places, so it'll be okay. Okay, grabbing some branches in the center. Going to give it 2 twists. Grabbing another piece of wire. I'm going to grab it in the same area. Once again, I'm going to give it 2 twists. And then what's going to lock this in place is one of these I'm going to lock down to the bottom. The other one I'm going to lock to the top. There you go. And this is where you kind of make sure you position it the way you want it. And there you go. Lock it in place. See, right here I did the same thing, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Otherwise, if you don't do both sides in the same area, otherwise it'll wobble like this. But if I start locking it in, as you can see, it can't wobble. No wobbling allowed. Okay, our leaves are attached. Now for some fun. In the comments below, let me know what you would have put in the center right here. Would it be a little bow? Would it be a pumpkin or half of a pumpkin? Would it be maybe a big sunflower? Or maybe, I don't know, some kind of a floral arrangement in the middle right here? Or maybe a bow like this. So I'm going to go for this one, but you think what you would put in the center right here, and let me know in the comments below. Now let's get started on the bow. I'm going to be using this 12-inch ruler, and this is going to be very easy, I promise. So here's what I'm going to do. 6 inches is our middle, because we're going to go 6 inches this way, 6 inches this way. Here is what you do, you guys. Put the ruler right on top of the ribbon right here. But since 6 inches is our start, I'm going to move it to 8 because I want this overlapped, and I like those 2 inches to make sure that the ribbon is nice and secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it right here in the corner. And remember, we were starting off with the 8, just to kind of give us the 2 inches that we want as an extra. And we are just going to start going around the ruler. How simple is that? We're going to go around the ruler. And there's other 12-inch rulers you can also use, not a big deal. And then make how many loops you want. I feel like the leaves right here, they're not that big, so we don't want too many loops either. So what I want is 3 on each side. When I see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and here is our third. Now our third, we're going to go down to 4, this last one right here, just to give it 2 inches on the other side of 6, right there. And I'm going to cut it off with the largest scissors I can find, seriously, right there at 4. I don't know if I should laugh or cry at this point. All right, and I took it off the ruler, and as you can see, it's nice and even. And we're just going to fold it in half just to make sure we have that center. Unfold it. And then we're going to make little cuts, tiny cuts, you guys. Tiny, 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 tiny. Just go through like this portion right here where the wire is. That's it. All you want is this to be kind of looser. It's just what happens is if you don't do these little nicks on this particular bow, what happens is all of this wire gets crunched in there and the bow just doesn't pop like it should, I guess. Grabbing some wire, and I'm grabbing a longer piece because I do want this wire to go around where it needs to go, right on the wreath. And I'm just going to go around, and of course, where the last piece where we cut it off, that's going to be our back, and then the beginning is hidden inside. And we're just going to scrunch it, no particular way, and tie it. I'm going to go around one more time. Now I'm just going to feed my wire through that top and the bottom right here. I'm going to twist it around, making sure to go around this center bar. And of course, now we come to the fun part, and that is opening up our bow. And what I like to do is kind of twist it. Get started on our very easy and fun pumpkin wreath, I'm going to need, of course, a pumpkin wreath from the Dollar Tree. Then I will be using 6 rolls of Deco mesh, and we're also going to need some pipe cleaners or chenille stems, as some of you call them. We're going to start by getting 12 pipe cleaners, and I'm going to be using these gold ones. To get started, I'm going to put my chenille wires on, and how I do it is, first, let's just find our halfway point right there. And the way I like to do it is I'll bring it in, then I'll twist it around this side right there, and then I'm going to give it the first twist. That way it's not going to go anywhere. I'll do it again. Come on either side. So if I'm coming on this side, let's find our halfway point. I'm going to wrap around the other side of my wire right here and then give it that first twist. It's going nowhere. I'm going to continue doing this to all the endings. To start, I'm going to grab my Deco mesh and start unrolling them. And now I'm layering one on top of the other. I don't know if you can see this, but one of my Deco mesh is really messed up on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this one on top, meaning when I flip this over, it's going to be at the bottom. So I'm going to unroll this third one as my first one because it's the prettiest. So if you run into a situation like that where you're working with Dollar Tree mesh and it's just one of these, just put it at the bottom when you are doing layers like this. All right, here's my tail. I'm going to squish it together. Starting with my first pipe cleaner, I'm just going to lay the tail right on top and give it one twist. I always do one twist on these because once you start layering, you want to make sure that these are just not too bulky. We're gonna go down, open our pipe cleaner on this side, bring it together, and of course on this side, I want to make sure that this side is covered. Give it one twist. So I'm just going to keep it tight, and we're going to go back to the first one that we started with. Nice tight twist. And when I'm overlapping the second one, I want to make sure I cover this as much as possible. I'm going to go down and I'm going to cover this space between the first and the second wire. And then I'm going to cover the space between this first and second here to make sure that it's nicely stretched out. And now I'm going to be going in to the second one right here and give it a twist. We can bring these up later. Don't worry about it. Now we're going to do another loop where we're not going to be attaching anything. So make sure you have enough of the mesh stretched out. Okay, are you guys with me so far? So first we attached, did our loop, then did another loop because the first one we just covered the side. Then we're doing a freehand one where we're not attaching anything. Then we attached at the bottom, at the top. Now I'm doing a freehand one, meaning I want to cover these spaces in between. So I'm just going to loop on top. And then go to the bottom right here. Cover this space right here. We're not attaching. Now that we got this covered, when we go back up, we're going to attach. Going over, and now we're attaching it on this next one. Go nice and tight here. And I'm going to see if I can reach with this one. Here's the tail. Okay, I'm going to do my best to make it here, but the thing is, we do want to have a secure tail, and it's just going to be too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring it in, open up this pipe cleaner right here, the one that's right next to the stump, and push my Deco mesh right in there. And I'm not going to cut it because the way I look at it, I can definitely use it as a little bit more to fluff it out over here and to cover this. So there's no reason to cut it. It's going to be on the inside. And so right where this one ended, I'm going to grab the next set. And while I always like to keep it this way, for this we need to start it upside down where it's kind of swimming in, then put it inside here and lock it in. And the reason for that is we're going to go over now. Once I have it the way I want it on top, I'm going to go in and give it one twist right there. And then again, we're going to go in because we do want to cover the areas right here. And so this is where I go straight. Now it's time to attach again. Okay, we're coming to the end. This is the back. Here's my front. I am absolutely stunned how easy and absolutely fun this is, and anyone can do it. I mean, really, this is just so much fun. And the most important thing is I stuck to using Dollar Tree supplies only, which was my goal here. And I'm on my last loop right here, covering the ending. And then I'm coming in from the top. Now I'm just going to cut off the excess. So we have our wires here, and because we have loose edging right here, what I am going to do is I'm going to do a little loop on the back. Right there, catching the one that was kind of freehand. And now my wires are in the back, and I'm just going to give it twists, and then just kind of work it around. These other ones, they're not going to go anywhere and they're not going to slide off, so it's not that much of a big deal. But for the four ends, you want to make sure that this one that we did freehand is not going to slide off. So I'm going to go on the inside right here, give this one a few twists, and I'm just going to hide the wires there. Everything else, I'm just going to go around, give a few twists, and then you can either cut this off or you could just stick it in. So in review, we started on top over here, we attached, we made our first side loop, then we made our first loop on top, and then we needed to start covering the edges in between the wires here. So then we had a freehand one, attached one on top. A freehand one where it's loose on both sides and then attached on both sides. Loose, attached, loose, attached. At the end of the day, when we're done, what I did was in the back, I attached that first loop on the edges, everywhere on the edges, that first one. I attached it with the remaining wire I had so it doesn't slide off, because this is a pumpkin and it's going down. These I'm not too worried about. They're not going to be sliding, but the ones on the edges, I really wanted to make sure that they were secure, so I just secured them in the back with some remaining pipe cleaners. The deco mesh I'll be using is this beautiful light green, and before I get started, I just grabbed a pipe cleaner and attached it to the wreath form right there, just so we are ready to go. And it's kind of like making a curly wreath, except I'm just going to be rolling until I feel like it's going to be nice and secure without fraying. So I'm not measuring. I'm just going to give it a good roll. And then we're going to cut. And you can make as many of these as you want. I'm going with 3. So once I have my 3, I'm going to take about 1 inch from the bottom, stick it inside the pumpkin. It's the length that you feel like is going to be good for your pumpkin. And then just tie it in place. I'm starting with the buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And here I'm just making a bow. It all depends on how big or small you want yours to be. And this is my little table vacuum, just in case you're wondering what I'm putting on top. Next, I'm going to grab some of this ribbon. What I decided to do was to do a buffalo check, then the leaf print, and then I'm going to do another buffalo check, and I'm going to put it behind, and that one I'm going to make a little bigger. The reason for this is the buffalo check is going to look really nice against the orange. This tail is going to be a little bit on the short side, which is absolutely fine. For bows like this, the way I bring them together is I take the whole bundle, I fold it in half on the inside, and then I take this half, fold it back, this half, fold it back, and it just makes such a pretty little bow. Bring it together with whatever's on hand. I just grabbed a pipe cleaner. And of course, since my buffalo check is on top, I'm going to use this leaf one to go around the center right here. For my buffalo check, I always just fold them in because of the fraying, and just make sure to give it 2 little twists. And since these are going to be flat, I'm just going to do the same thing here. Next, I'm grabbing another pipe cleaner, going around the center. This is what I'm going to attach my bow with. You make sure that's in the back before I do the finishing touch right there. All right, I'm going to fold my ribbon right here to make a beautiful little center. Just fold it in 3. And then here is where I'm going to hot glue it in place. Now here's our pumpkin. Our greenery is on this side. I want this bow to be on the side like this. And for my bow, I'm going to attach it on this bar right here underneath. And then with this other side, I'm going to go through here. There you go. Through right here, so I can attach it on top, secure the bow in place. We're going to fluff it out later, and now we're going to bring some leaves in, and I don't want to add too much. I'm going to throw in some greenery in here, and I'm going to go just straight behind the bow. Then I am going to grab some of this ivory, and I'm just going to shove it right in the center. You can attach it if you want. And then another stem I'm going to put on the other side, and I'm just going to feed it through, kind of zigzag it through the deco mesh so it stays in place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if I want it to go down, I'm going to kind of do this, and this part is going to go inside. Okay, since we have the bow here, we need to balance out this side. This is where you can bring more florals in, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all these leaves in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep them on the stem, and I'm just looping it around our actual frame. And I'm going to grab another one and hook it right in the center. Let me know down below if you ever made a pumpkin like this, or if you're going to give this one a try. And basically you're just going around the pumpkin, that's all you're doing, and then just connecting every other row to make sure that, you know, you cover all the edges and everything, and that's it. I think this wreath turned out so super cute, and it was absolutely easy to do. Today I'm making a white pumpkin using white Deco mesh from the Dollar Tree and also using the Nadia method. Let's get started. For today's wreath, I'm going to be using this pumpkin wreath form from the Dollar Tree. And Dollar Tree has been getting these in the last few years. And just so you guys know, look how big this thing is. It's 17.5 inches wide. Our regular wreath form, like the metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree, is 14 inches, the standard one at least. And so just so you know how ginormous this is and what an amazing deal this is for $1. For the mesh, I'm going to be using this white Deco mesh from the Dollar Tree. And at the end, I will let you know how many rolls I'm going to use because I'm using the Nadia method, and I developed the method around winter, but I'm guessing at least 4. So that is what I'm going to start off with. Because we are working with white mesh, I am going to spray paint this only once. I'm going to spray paint the back first, let it dry, then the front, let it dry, and then I'm going to be using this clear Rust-Oleum enamel to seal it in. And for paint, this is what I usually use, is the white paint and primer. So this is the primer, and I have the paint separate. My pumpkin wreath form is painted, and I'm going to put it to the side. Now I'm going to grab some of these pipe cleaners or chenille stems, and these come 45 in a pack from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fold these in thirds, which will give me 4-inch stems. If you go any longer, like, you know, fold these in half, you're going to end up cutting most of it off because we're just putting them around these wires. And if you're going to go any shorter, it's going to be harder to work with. So I find the happy medium being 4 inches for these chenille stems or pipe cleaners. The standard Deco mesh from the Dollar Tree comes in 6-inch rolls, and in length it is 5 yards, as you can see right here. And if we take our 5 yards and divide it by 15 bows, it's going to give us 12 inches, or, you know, vice versa. Take the 5 yards, divide it by the 12 inches that we need for each bow, it's going to give us 15 bows. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my mesh up. You can obviously use scissors for this, but I highly recommend this rotary cutter. It just makes things so much easier. We have a little visitor here watching my every move. Apparently we have to make sure that Leo's okay with it. Leo, say hello. To make the bow, I'm going to grab one of my little strips and I'm going to overlay them 1 inch. I recommend a maximum of 1.5 inches, so about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, because if you go any longer, then your bow's going to be just a little bit too small. I'm going to hold it on top and just bring it down. Holding with my finger on top, I'm going to walk from the bottom, going up. And then I'm just going to wrap my pipe cleaner and tighten things up here. Give it 2 twists. After my 2 twists, you can see my bow is 0 fray. And by the way, yes, sometimes when you're making the bow, you can actually get little strays when you were cutting. That's fine. Just grab those, get rid of them. And then your bow is ready to go on your wreath. Let's make another one. I'm overlapping about 1 inch, holding it on top, bringing it straight down, pinching it with my finger, and if you're lefty righty, I'm gonna do it with my other one. I'm ambidextrous, so I can do it with either finger, but I'm just showing you it doesn't matter how you make it. And then this way it's going to come from this side. I'm going to tighten it up, get rid of the fray, tighten it up, and there you go. You have your bow, and now you have the frame that's locked right here, and the other side of the frame that's locked on the inside of the bow, and that's it. Your little bow is ready to go on your wreath. All right, I got my bows all ready to go, and I'm just going to start putting them on just from one side to the other, starting with the loop that goes up. I'm not going to be touching the frame itself, just on these little sections right here. Before I continue, I wanted to kind of break it down. So as we know, we do have 6 sections. Section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the sections that come up from the pumpkin, not the flat ones. We're going to leave the flat ones alone and not touch these. We are going to be putting 15 bows per section, and even though these 4 are much larger than this side, we're not going to be worrying about that. We might push it down because we are going to be decorating this section right here. So even though we're going to have 15, it's going to be more than enough. The most important thing is for these side ones to get filled, because they are going to give our pumpkin the shape. And later on, when we're all done, we're going to actually take the sides right here, or you could do it now, it doesn't matter. And we're going to just kind of push them in and form them, so that way the pumpkin doesn't have anything kind of sticking out, and we're going to keep the shape of a pumpkin. And right here also, just kind of tuck it in. We're working with little bows that will listen to you. And there you go. There's your shape of the pumpkin on the outside. So I'm going to continue and start filling all of these in. And then when I'm all done, that's when we're going to come back and decorate. Our pumpkin is all done. I'm just going to tuck in the sides. Basically kind of shape it like a pumpkin, so nothing's sticking out. If you need to play around and, you know, maybe there's a hole right there, just kind of twist these guys around, make sure it fits nicely and covers everything. There you go. And as you can see on top right here, I have a little bit open. I kind of squished it down, which is just fine. And by the way, this is 6 rolls of the white Deco mesh. And we are going to do a version of my half loop bow. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit different. For my ribbon, these are the ones I'm going to use. I'm going to use this orange, then these leaves, and the green. And as you can see, they are going to make a beautiful combo. And we're going to attach it to the top. My half loop bows, I usually do 28 inches in length. So because this is not long enough of a space, what I do is I do 14 inches. Let me kind of move it. 14-inch loops. Measure out my 14 inches. There's my 14-inch loop. And then there you go. There's my measurement of the 28 inches. For each of the ribbon that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be doing only 2 of these 28-inch loops. Next, I'm going to make dovetails. So what I do is just I fold my really long ribbon together and then together again and cut from inside going out. And now to get started on my bow, I'm starting with the green one, and of course I'm facing the outside, which is the prettier side, towards the outside. And as you can see here, the edge kind of folds in on this side. So this is the inside piece. And I'm starting at my mark right here, going to 15 inches. And here I have my 6 inches. So I'm going to 15 inches and folding it back. Where I have my 6 inches right here. This is where I'm actually going to make this bow. So we're going to have a bow, and one tail is going to be longer and the other one is shorter. Next, I'm going to grab the next green one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to 15, fold it in half, and now I'm just laying them down. I'm going to do the same thing with all of my ribbons. All right, now that all my ribbon is folded the way I need them to, I'm going to grab a chenille wire. You can also use floral wire, whatever you want to use to put this bow together. I'm going to start by using the color that I want in the back, which is this green one. Then we're going to go to the fall leaves, and then this kind of rustic orange. It's such a beautiful color. And by the way, yes, all the ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. So we're starting off by measuring 6 inches. As soon as I get my 6 inches, I'm going to bring it and put it between my thumbs. Then the next one, also 6 inches, I'm going to face it the opposite way. Next, 6 inches, the opposite way of that one. And then so on and so forth until you're all done. Quite easy, right? I'm going to fold it so I know where my place is. But as you can see, each side I have a loop, a longer and a shorter tail, a loop, shorter, longer, loop, shorter, longer, and obviously this side is the exact opposite. Because this is so thick and we want this bow to pop, we are going to cut on the edges right here, and just a little bit. We are not making any serious cuts right here. Literally a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, depending on how big your bow is. But just like that, not too much, because you want this bow to stay together. I have my chenille wire right here. Make sure it's in half. And I'm going to bring my bow together and just tighten it up in the back. I didn't do anything special, just put the chenille wire around it and tied it in the back. That's all I did. Next, I'm bringing my pumpkin back up, and now I'm going to attach the bow to the 2 middle rings right here. Just give it a few twists. Then I'm going to put my wire through the stump right here, just to kind of secure it in place. Okay, now I'm just putting my wreath on something, propping up on something, so I can actually see how this is going to turn out. And basically, I want one of my ribbons to go down, and the other one can face up. So the longer one's going to go down, the shorter one is going to go up. I know this kind of does look a little bit chaotic, but trust me, it'll be okay. All right, you guys, I fluffed my bow out just a little bit. Next, I grabbed these picks. These are both, as you can see, this is Crafter Square. This is Floral Garden, which is from the Dollar Tree. Both of them are from the Dollar Tree. And I just could not make up my mind which one I wanted to go with. But I really like the mums in this one, and then this orange pumpkin. And then I like the fact that this one has just a little bit like of twigs, and it does have some of these leaves that are going to match our ribbon. So I decided to use this also, and it has a cute little pumpkin on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a combo of both of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them from the top, and I'm going to bend them right here. So this part that I'm bending right here, this is going to go behind our bow, right there. And we're going to secure it in place with some floral wire that I have. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to bend it, and I'm going to put it behind our bow. And then after I secure it, I'm going to make sure that it's fluffed out the way I want it. I want these I guess these little twigs or whatever this is supposed to be to kind of flow down. Do you see what I mean? And these berries are going to go down. But right now, let me just secure this in place. And I'm just grabbing my floral wire and I'm just securing it to the back of the pumpkin. And now this is where I'm going to finish up, and especially the small little tails are really going to come up and things are going to get poofed out. Oh, this is going to be so super adorable. For this wreath or wall hanging, you are going to need 6 rolls of the orange Deco mesh from the Dollar Tree, and you are also going to need either zip ties, some floral wire, or even a chenille wire to attach the Deco mesh to the wreath. To get started, I'm just bringing the Deco mesh ending together, and using a zip tie, I'm tying it to the first row of the pumpkin. Now we're going to start weaving the pumpkin like a basket. The first loop that I made was going around the edge of the pumpkin, and then I'm just going to go forward. I'm going to go to the left, going in and out, around the edge, and then to the right, in and out, around the edge, and back and forth just the same. Keep on going, you guys, and just bring it together, making sure that it's not too tight. You want it to be a little bit on the looser end. That way, if you want to cover any of the green from the pumpkin, you can move the Deco mesh around. Each time a roll ends, I just bring together the ending of one roll and the beginning of the other roll, overlap them, and bring them together with my zip tie. Then I continue weaving just like I have been doing. Coming towards the end of weaving my pumpkin, I wanted to show you that basically all the connections that I did have, you can see my white little zip ties, they're all in the back. I made sure to overlap the little Deco mesh in the front so all the zip ties are hidden. When I'm done with the pumpkin, I'm taking the leftover tail from the Deco mesh and I'm zip tying it to the top center of the pumpkin. To start my bow, I will be using this beautiful pumpkin ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm making 3 big loops, making sure I have tails left over on both ends. I then find my center and then bend my little loops in half just to make sure that I am at the center, and I'm going to give 2 notches, one on one side, just cutting through the wire. That's all I'm doing. I'm just cutting through the wire and stopping. So maybe 1/4 of an inch at the most. There you go. Now I'm grabbing some floral wire and I'm going to bring the bow together in the middle and just make the wire nice and tight on the bow. Now I'm just fluffing my bow out and making sure it looks nice on my pumpkin. Next, I'm grabbing some leftover fall ribbon and I made a simple bow and brought it together with a floral wire. Next, I decided to grab this gold netting ribbon, which is from the Dollar Tree. I got it last year. And I'm just trimming the edges, making a simple bow and layering it in between my first bow and my second bow. I felt like I needed to add a little bit more to the bow, so I'm grabbing this Deco mesh tubing that I had left over from last year, and I made a simple bow and then just brought all the bows together with an extra piece of wire. Without cutting the wire, I attached the bow straight onto the stump part of the pumpkin. To complete the bow, I'm grabbing both of my wired ribbon and I'm making little ducktails, and then I did trim the gold ribbon also just to make sure it's nice and even. The florals I'll be adding are these beautiful mums and dahlias, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 flowers for each side. So I'm going to take 2 dahlias and 2 mums, make a little bit of a bouquet, bring the bouquet together with a little bit of floral wire and stick it to the left of the bow, and then do the same thing to the other side and stick it on the other side of the bow. I kept the stems of the flowers 4 to 5 inches long. Using a floral wire, I'm just making sure that everything is secure in the back, including the florals and my bow. For this wreath, I'm using a Dollar Tree metal wreath form. And what I'm going to start with is 8 chenille wires, and they are going to go on the first 2 rings, and then 10 chenille wires are going to go on the outside 2 rings. If you are someone who likes to have everything very even, then I would do 6 right here and 12 on the outside. But today I will be doing 8 and 10. So the way I like to do this is I like to pretend I'm cutting a pie or a cake or whatever you want to take it as. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I like to do this really even, especially on the first one, because the second one is going to be 10 and that one's a little bit more all over the place. So for the first 2 rings at least, we can keep it nice and even. All right, I just got 10 more chenille wires, and those are going to go on the outside 2 rings. So I'm done with this part. I have 8 on here and 10 on the outside. Some people start on the outside and move in. I actually prefer to start the wreath on the inside and move out. Okay, so today I'm using a 21-inch, 30 feet Deco mesh, and I got it for $2.49 on clearance at Michael's. Dollar Tree mesh, it is exactly the same, except it's half the roll. We're going to start by just bringing our outside little tail together. And the best way to do this is to use some zip ties. I got my zip tie and I'm basically just zip tying it next to one of my chenille wires. And I really like to have it nice and tight. I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches off. And I usually like to tuck that on the inside. We can always use some more chenille wires to patch it in place, but right now we are going to go around. I have a measuring mat, but I do like using my green mat because this mat is 9 inches from side to side, and I just add a tiny more. This is not rocket science, you guys. This does not need to be anything complicated, but make sure when you're making the loop, you're conscious of where your ends are going, and they should be going towards the inside or to be on the outside, so you have that beautiful poof. All right, now that we have the first loop completed, I'm moving down, and what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a zip tie and I'm going to move on to the second and third row, but I'm going to zip tie my Deco mesh on the third row just so it's secure in this little spot. Now I'm working on the second and third row. I'm starting by grabbing my 10 inches. I got my endings on the side. I know my poof is nice and stable. And I'm moving to the next chenille wire. Once we completed our circle, I'm going to cut off about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. And this is how much I still have left. You should be able to do this with 1 roll of the Dollar Tree mesh. Dollar Tree just did not have this maroon color for the theme that I was going for, so I had to use it. Now I'm grabbing a zip tie and zip tying the tail in place. I secured it in place on the third row, not the fourth, because I want this tail to be hidden and not touch the side of the door where the endings can scratch. I'm going to put my wreath to the side, and I'm going to bring out my trusty mat here and a yellow Deco mesh from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start wrapping it around, and I need 18 pieces. Now you just go around until you have 18 pieces. So basically the whole roll. I'm just cutting along the edge and just hold it down and cut the other side. Now we're grabbing our yellow little pieces and we're going to find the middle and bring it together, kind of like we're bringing together a bow, just like that. We're just going to each one of the chenille wires. We're going to secure it in place, give it a good twist or two, and at this point I'm going to push my chenille wires down underneath the wreath. As I'm going along putting in my yellow poofs, I am trying to just open up all the loops as much as I can, and I highly recommend doing the yellow little bows a little longer than I did. I did 9 inches. I do recommend doing 10 to 12. That way they'll like go around a little bit better. I just had one roll of yellow on hand, so I had no choice but to make it, you know, the 9 inches. It's still doable. You just need to really kind of wrap it inside because this is Dollar Tree mesh and, you know, it can fray really easily. So I'm just kind of, you know, making my little bows a little tighter. To complete the wreath, I have a little owl that I got at Walmart about 3 years ago, and I'm just going to attach it somewhere towards the bottom so that I can use the front of the bow to kind of cover that little clip, and that's it. And our little owl is in place, and we have a little Harry Potter wreath. I think it turned out super, super cute. For today's wreath, I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree evergreen wreath. And yes, this one's a little sparse, but for what we need, it's going to do perfect. The really cool part about using something like this is, if you can see the back, the wiring that they make this wreath with is really, really flexible. If I wanted to make a square wreath, I can definitely just bend a corner, and you saw how easy that was. Let me undo that. Or if you wanted to make an oval wreath, just bring it in and you got a beautiful oval wreath. The possibilities are really endless with this one as far as what shape you want. For deco mesh, I'm going to be using this beautiful burlap deco mesh. It does have little white in it, but it's so pretty. I got this at Jordan Fabrics. Any burlap deco mesh you have on hand will do if you're going to do something really similar to this. When using burlap deco mesh, always look at the length because they're more expensive than the regular deco mesh, and it usually does not come in the 10 yards that we're used to. So this one's 9.5 inches, so almost 10 inches, and it's 19 feet. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. So 19 feet is 228 inches. Divide that by 8. You're going to get 28.5 inches. So I'm going to be cutting this deco mesh into 28-inch little strips. The reason I always do the math when it comes to these is because you want to know how many loops you're going to have and what's the appropriate amount to cut. And especially if you're going to use one, if you're going to have the 10 yards and you're going to have leftover, then it's not a big deal. But if you have one roll of something, you want to make sure it lasts, then yeah, do the little math, just convert it, Google it. It's really easy. Since my board is 24 inches and I have 1/2 inch on here, I'm going to add 3.5 inches on my ruler, and I'm just going to set that right underneath my mat. That's how I do it. That way I have the 28 inches that I need. Because of the white fabric in this burlap, you would either need to use a heat gun or scissors. And I'm going for my scissors because I don't have a vented area in my office right now. So I'm going to do that. And as I said, if you're using the heating tool, make sure you're in a vented area because you're basically breathing in that plastic that the Deco mesh is made out of. I have all 8 strips ready to go. And what I'm going to do is, well, first take this off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, and 7, 8. Meaning, since we don't have an exact kind of location, I'm just going to make it easy on myself. As far as my strips, I'm just going to start on one side, and I tend to fold just in the beginning. We're not even rolling anything. Just give it a fold. And off you go, just gathering it straight in the center. And then come in, open 2 up, and then have one go one way, the other way, and I'm just going to wrap it around our wreath right there. There you go. Next one's gonna go complete opposite on this side. Twist it and bend it back. Now that I have my initial 4, I'm just going to do the same thing with the rest of these and just go in between each of the 4. Look at this gorgeous wreath. You can hardly see the greenery, but if it's peeking out here and there, not a big deal at all. Next, I'm going to grab 4 green pipe cleaners, and these are 12 inches, and I'm going to cut them in half. I'm going to use them to make little bundles to put in the center of each of the curls. The main ribbon I'm going to be using for my bundles is going to be this one. It's black with some ivory stripes, and as you can see, it has little sparkles in it, but because of the ivory and this vintagey look, you can definitely get away with using this for a farmhouse wreath. The length of the ribbon will depend on you, depending on how far you want it to stick up. I decided to make mine 9 inches. And so I'm just going to go back and forth. Since we have 8 of the burlap ruffles, I'm going to make 16 of these little strips. I have all 16 pieces of ribbon cut into 9-inch strips. And all I'm going to do is just fold the ends right here and make little dovetails. I'm going to finish this off in a second, but until then, I'm going to grab some more holiday stuff. These are berry garlands, and you can get these year-round in any craft store. So I'm going to grab these, and they're 9 feet long. And I'm going to make strips of about 8 to 9 inches using wire cutters to cut this. I'm just going to fold the ends just like that. Let me measure about 8 to 9 inches. The reason I say 8 to 9 is, for example, right here, you don't want to cut it right at the berry. You want to cut it in the middle. So this one's going to be more of a 9-inch thing. And then right here, this tip, I'm going to go ahead and just fold it back. It's not that hard to do. We're going to put them together along with our striped ribbon. And then, of course, both ends we're going to bend. This is going to prevent fraying, and these berries are going to stay in place. I got everything to go to make my bundles, and then for the finishing touch in the center, I'm going to put a little cotton bud or cotton pods, I guess. You can get these at the Dollar Tree. Here's some big ones. They come in a pack 3 or 4, depending on how big they are. Since I only had 1 pack of these, I wanted them to look more symmetrical, I guess, because these do kind of look a little different here. They have 4 little cotton swabs in this one, and then this one just has a big old cotton swab in that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little pick. If you can't find the Dollar Tree one, I'll insert a link to the picks that I got. These were originally $2.99, and I got these at Joann's, but I got them on, I believe, 80% off or something like that. So I'm going to take them apart here. Taking these apart is harder than it looks, which means these are really good quality. They all come with little wires, so I'm going to undo the wire here so I can get a longer wire. And I'm going to twist this one right here, and then these two together right here. And then this way we can put it around our little centerpiece this way. I'm going to start by bringing two of my ribbon, just crisscrossing them. And then with these, we're going to just lay them just like that, not a big deal. Make sure berries are not in that center. Bring this together with our pipe cleaner, kind of move it up. Two beautiful twists in the back. And then we're going to wrap it around our first bundle here. Twist in place. Then we're going to grab our cotton pod, put that in the center, and then twist that in place. And I have my first little bundle. The ribbon, we're just going to curl out just like that. But the berries, we're going to kind of push them up towards the center. That way they're going to be noticeable a little bit more. And especially when you're looking up close, you can see the berries. It is really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off doing all the bundles, going all the way around. Before we get to the centerpiece, I just want to show you how I did the ribbon, because we're going in a little X right here. So if I have my little X going this way right here, then this one is going to go this way where it's kind of interlocking, and so on and so forth. You can see the same thing here where it's going like this, and then this one is turned sideways like this. And then, of course, this one is like this. And I'm just going to go ahead and straighten all of that out and keep on going all the way around. But before I do that, let's work on the centerpiece. I'm going to use this beautiful Dollar Tree sign. It says Home Sweet Home. And then I'm going to grab some wire that's black, just like my sign here. And I'm going to cut 4 strings. And I'm just being generous and eyeing how long I want these to be. And by the way, this is a 26 gauge wire. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my wires and I'm going to tie them on here. And I'm just going to go right around, tie it in the back, give it a few twists here. And then right here on that center bar. And you know what? I think I want one at the bottom, so I'm going to cut another one. From a distance, these are going to be pretty much unnoticeable. Going to gather them, put them right in the center of the wreath here, and then start attaching them to the sides of the wreath. And this bottom one is going to be nice because it's just going to stabilize it in place. And I'm just going to attach it right here to the bottom. I'm just doing a few twists around, and then I'm just twisting it around the wire itself. After I have it in place, I'm just going to pull up my ribbon right here just to kind of work it in. And that's it. Our wreath is done. Very simple, very easy. And I love the fact that this wreath is an everyday wreath. You can have it in your home in a specific spot the whole year round. And this makes for such a perfect gift. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now here's a close-up.